بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today's lecture is about, of course, conditionals or conditional clauses. This is, of course, one of the most important lessons in grammar, okay, that we need to know and that you students need to learn how to express conditional clauses, how to speak, that is to say, using conditional clauses. Now, the objectives of this lecture is, of course, understanding conditional structure, that is to learn the different types of conditional sentences. We can have, let's say, different types, of course, of conditionals: zero, first, second, third, and mixed conditionals. Also, to understand the structure and formation of each type of conditional clauses, like if clause and main clause. Also expressing hypothetical situations, and this is one of the functions of using conditionals, to learn how to express hypothetical or unreal situations using conditional sentences. Practice constructing sentences and to describe potential outcomes based on different conditions. Also indicating cause and effect. Yes, this is also another important function of using, that is conditional, to understand how conditional clauses can indicate cause and effect relationships. Also learn how to use conditionals to describe consequences of specific actions or events. Expressing polite requests, offers, and advice. That is in order to explore the use of conditional sentences to make polite requests, offers, and suggestions. Practice using conditionals to convey hypothetical situations in a polite and diplomatic manner. Number 5, we have improving conditional sentence variety to expand vocabulary and sentence structures by using a variety of conditional forms. Also to practice using mixed conditionals to express complex ideas and nuanced meanings. Another, that is enhancing listening and speaking skills. Of course, it's important that is we practice with listening speaking skills the use of conditionals. Listening to audio recordings or dialogues containing conditional sentences to improve listening comprehension. Engage to, let's say, in speaking activities such as role plays and discussions to practice using conditionals in conversation. Applying also conditional clauses in writing. This is, of course, also important in writing and expressing, let's say, one's ideas, thoughts, opinions. Practice writing exercises to apply conditional clauses in written communication. Develop the ability to use conditionals effectively in essays, reports, and other written assignments. The key terms that, inshallah, we'll have in our session today, that is conditional clause. As a conditional clause, of course, a dependent clause that, or subordinate clause we can say as well, that expresses a condition often introduced by the subordinating conjunction, which is if. Examples, for example, we can say, if it rains, we will stay indoors. So the use of if here, if it rains, is a subordinate clause, okay, starting with the subordinator if, or the, as he said, the, let's say, the subordinate clause, if it rains, we will stay indoors. That is the main clause. Now, the second term is the main clause, okay, an independent clause, and that is say, that expresses the result or consequences of the condition in the conditional clause, so that we can say as well it is the clause that can stand alone, of course, okay. But when we talk about the subordinate clause, that if a clause, for example, is the clause that depends on the main clause, so it can't stand alone. So example, we will stay indoors if it rains. We will stay indoors if it rains. Now, the zero conditional clause as well, it's one type, okay, a type of conditional sentence, used to describe general truths or facts. Sometimes we don't need to use if or other, let's say, subordinators. So it's formed with the present simple tense in both conditional clauses and the main clause. So no need to use if clause. For example, we can say if you heat ice, it melts. Okay, it melts. If you eat ice, it melts. We, of course, here we have if clause, but we have it melts. That is the present simple. This is not zero, okay. For example, we can say we will have another, of course, or other examples, inshallah, in the coming explanation. First conditional type 1, that is to say also, that's after the zero, we count type 1. Type 1 here, a type of conditional sentence used to express real possibilities or likely future events. That this is possible to occur, to happen in the future. It's formed with the present simple tense in the conditional clause and the future simple tense will plus base verb in the main clause. We know that. For example, if it rains tomorrow, I will take an umbrella. If it rains, okay, I will take an umbrella. Second conditional, we can say this is the third type, or the third term, I mean. Type 2, it is type 2, and here it is, that is talks or discusses, let's say, unreal situations. A type of conditional sentence used to express hypothetical or unreal situations in the present or future. Okay, it's formed with the simple past tense after if, of course. Okay, and in the conditional clause, we use, of course, and the conditional clause, we use would plus base form of the verb. Would plus base form of the verb in the main clause. For example, we can say, if I were rich, I would travel the world. I will travel the world. So if I were rich, we use were, which is impossible, of course, because this means you are not rich. It's unreal situations. I would travel, look at would, travel, would, followed by base form of the verb. Now, the third condition or conditional clause here, type 3, that is to say, a type of conditional sentence used to express hypothetical situations in the past that did not happen. Okay, did not happen. It's formed with the past perfect tense in the conditional clause and the conditional perfect, that is would have plus past participle. So here in the if clause, we use past perfect, if plus subject plus had plus verb 3 or ed verb, and the main clause, we will have would have past participle, would have past participle in the main clause. For example, if she had studied harder, she would have passed the exam. She would have passed the exam. I said passed, the pronunciation. So mixed conditionals now here. Conditional sentences that combine elements of different conditional types, often used to express complex ideas about past events or actions with present consequences or vice versa. For example, we can say, if I hadn't missed the train, past, look at this, if I hadn't missed the train, I wouldn't be late now. I wouldn't be late now. This is also present. So we use here if plus past perfect, but we have, look at this, we would plus be or would plus base form to indicate present. So this is mixed. 8 hypothetical situations, imaginary or unreal situations described using conditional clauses, often involving speculation, which is regrets or hypothetical outcomes. Of course, we'll discuss, inshallah, this in details in the coming information or explanation. Cause and effect. The relationship between a condition cause and its resulting consequence effect expressed through conditional sentences. And the last one here with the polite requests as well. And of course, offers, using conditional sentences to make polite requests, offers, invitations, or suggestions in a diplomatic manner. Understanding these key terms is essential for grasping the concepts and structures of the conditional sentences or clauses, allowing students to use them accurately and effectively in both spoken and written English. Now, our lecture, of course, focuses, as we so far been discussing, on conditional clauses in English grammar. So as conditional clauses are important, of course, aspect of English syntax that allow us to express hypothetical situations. I said syntax because it's one type of what? Complex sentences, by the way. If a clause is one type of complex sentences, because complex sentences is of different types, and this is discussed in syntax. So one of them is, if a clause. So, or complex, I mean, one of the complex, and this is finite clause, I mean. So that allow us to express hypothetical situations, cause and effect relationships, and various degrees of certainty about events and outcomes. To introduce, the conditional clauses, we'll explore the different types of conditional sentences, including zero, first, second, and third conditionals. Also, we'll discuss mixed conditionals and discuss how conditional clauses are structured and used in everyday communications. We discuss, of course, the main objectives of the lesson here to understand the structure and usage of different types of conditional sentences, to learn how to express hypothetical situations and unreal conditions, to explore cause and effect relationships using conditional clauses, practice all as well forming and using conditional sentences in speaking and writing context, also to enhance overall English language proficiency through mastering conditional grammar. Throughout the lesson, inshallah, we will engage in interactive activities, discussions, and practice exercises to reinforce learning and ensure a thorough understanding of conditional clauses. And by the end of this session, you will be able to confidently use conditional sentences to express various ideas and convey nuanced meanings in English. Now let's see the main topics of the lecture. The first one is conditionals, types of conditionals, and let's see the zero, first, second, and third conditionals. Now the zero conditional clauses here, okay, the structure is we will, as we discussed earlier here, it is if plus present simple, if plus present, and we have present simple as well. Okay, so if plus, we don't have will here, by the way. We have will, but we don't have will. This is why we said zero. Zero, this means there is no will auxiliary, that's with the verb. The modal verb will is not used here. We just use the simple present tense. Okay, and here we have to be careful if the subject is singular or plural, because if it is singular, we have to add s to the verb. If the subject is plural or I, we use the base form of the verb. So usage, this type of conditional is used to express general, let's say, truth, scientific facts, or situations that are always true. It shows a cause and effect relationship that is universally accepted. For example, here, if you mix red and yellow, you get, look at this, orange. You get orange. There's no you will get orange. No, just you get. So if you mix red and yellow, you get orange. And this is a fact. Explanation. This sentence describes a fact that happens every time, the condition mixing red and yellow is met, resulting in what? The effect, getting orange. Now this is about, the, let's say, the zero condition. Okay, first conditional. Okay, of course, type 1. Here we have to use structure that stay if plus present simple. We use will plus base form of the verb. Will plus base form of the verb. We have will here after. So this is first conditional clause. Usage, first conditional clause are used to talk about real now possibilities, situations that can happen, okay, or likely future events based on a condition in present or future. For example, if it snows tomorrow, we will build a snowman. If it rains tomorrow, we will stay home, for example. If you study harder, you will pass the exam. So look at this, if plus present, and we use will plus the base form of the verb. Explanation of this sentence, that if it snows tomorrow, we will build a snowman. This sentence presents a potential future event, building a snowman, based on a real condition, snowing tomorrow. And the same thing here, if you study hard or harder, you will pass. So this means you have the time to study. So if you study, you will pass, okay? And this is also possible in the future. Second conditional clause, and this is here different structure with different, of course, meaning. That is type 2 structure. If plus simple past, if followed by simple past. You know, the main clause consists of would plus base verb. Usage, that is, second conditionals are used for hypothetical or unreal situations in the present or future. Impossible, because they are past. So in this case, we have example, if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, I would buy a yacht, let's say. I would buy a yacht. If I were a millionaire, I would travel around the world, let's say. If I were a millionaire, but I'm not a millionaire, okay? So on and so forth. So these are two examples on, let's say, that is conditional clause type 2, which is impossible, as we said, because I am not a millionaire, okay? And if I had $1 million, this means he didn't have $1 million. And we have what the main clause must end with would buy a yacht. Let's say would buy, would, base form of the verb. Now, explanation of this sentence. This sentence talks about unreal or an unreal situation, having $1 million or dollars, and its hypothetical outcomes, buying a yacht. Okay. Third conditional clause, that is also here the third one, structure if plus past perfect, and here if must be followed by had plus past participle. Had past participle, which is called past perfect tense. Now, of course, the main clause would have plus past participle. So if had plus past participle, would have plus past participle. Remember this. This is a very simple rule that you need to know. Usage, third conditional are, of course, conditionals are used for hypothetical situations in the past that did not happen. Did not happen. For example, if she had studied harder, she would have passed the exam. This sentence, of course, means that is, let's say, or this sentence expresses a regretful situation, not studying hard, and its consequence, not passing the exam in the past. These are the, let's say, the concepts that, or let's say the four types of conditional clauses. The second topic here we deal with mixed conditionals, combining past and present conditionals. That is here. Mixed conditionals we can have also known as combination conditionals, are a type of conditional sentence that combines elements of different conditional types. Specifically, mixed conditionals combine a past result with a present condition or vice versa. We'll understand this from the examples, inshallah. This blending of past and present conditions allows speakers to express complex relationships between past actions or events and their present, of course, sequences or effects. Here's a more detailed explanation of mixed conditional along with examples. For example, here we know we mix conditional past result, present conditions. We have structure if past perfect. We have would plus base verb. If past perfect, would. Of course, this is used not in, let's say, grammar with the questions, but in just conversations. Okay, the conversation we use this type of condition, but it's not in the question. That when you are questioned, you have grammatical questions. That is, say, exam. Okay, in this case, you have to follow the first four types that we discussed in the first, topic. But here about mixing, that say, it's just for speaking, used for in speaking, not in with the questions, because here we have a different rule, by the way. If past perfect, we have would plus base form of the verb. Usage. Now this type of mixed conditional describes a past action or condition that leads to a present result or consequences. It highlights the ongoing impact of a past event on the current situation. For example, if I had taken the job, or if I had taken that job, I would be living in a different city now. So if I had taken that job, I would be living in a different city now. To explain this now, this sentence implies that the speaker did not take that job in the past, or the job in the past, and as a result, they are currently living in a different city. Of course, and the meaning is clear. Example 2, if she had bought the tickets earlier, we would be at the concert now. If she had bought the tickets earlier, we would be at the concert now. Now here, this means what? That is, in this case, the past action of not buying the tickets earlier has led to the present consequences of not being at the concert. Okay, so to illustrate this, imagine a scenario where someone is reflecting on past decisions and their current situations. This happens. This is why I said in conversation we can have this, structure of using, let's say, conditional clauses, as mixing, that is, past events with the future consequences. So they used, let's say, mixed conditionals to express how different choices or actions, let's say, in the past could have influenced the present circumstances. For instance, consider someone who didn't invest in a certain stock several years ago. They might say, if I had invested in that stock back then, I would be much wealthier now. Here, the past action of not investing in the stock past result is connected to the present consequence of not having as much wealth, as he wants, let's say. Present condition, of course, اللي هو that is, he is not, wealthy. So mixed conditionals also allow speakers to convey nuanced meanings by linking past events or decisions with their ongoing effects in the present. They are particularly useful for discussing regrets, missed opportunities, and the last impact of past choices on the current situations. Topic 3 now, we have discussed that expressing unreal situations and imaginary scenarios. Also this discussed in the using the second conditional clause and the third, that is, type of conditional clause. The topic of expressing unreal situations and imaginary scenarios or situations in conditional sentences is a crucial aspect of English grammar, particularly when discussing hypothetical or contrary to reality situations, as we'll discuss below. So here, let's go down to understand it better, let's say, to have more examples and explanations on how to express unreal situations and imaginary scenarios. Structure, for example, if plus past simple, would plus base, to, of course, as we discussed earlier, we use, that is, type 2 of conditional clauses. So if you studied harder, you would pass. This means you didn't study hard, so you failed. Of course, here, as situations all in the past, they help us explore hypothetical situations and their potential outcomes. For example, if I were rich, I would buy a mansion, let's say, but I'm not. So this sentence presents an unreal situation, that's being rich, and its hypothetical result, buying a mansion. The speaker is not actually rich, but they are imagining that what they would do if they were rich. Of course, we discussed also other examples, but let's say now go down to, let's say, if we have another that is situation using that is the type 3, okay? Now the conditional expresses an imaginary scenario, or for the sentence as I expressed earlier, or used earlier. Illustration: now consider a group of friends discussing their dreams and aspirations. Let's say each person shares their unrealized, let's say, desires, using unreal conditional to paint imaginary scenarios. Friend A, مثلا, if I were a famous actor, I would star in blockbuster movies. Friend B, if I had a time machine, I would travel to ancient civilizations. Friend C, for example, if I could speak every language, look at this, if I could speak every language, I would travel the world as polyglot. So in each of these examples, the speakers express unreal situations, imaginary situations, as being famous actor, having a time machine, let's say, speaking every language, and the actions they would take in those hypothetical scenarios if they occurred. Now, these statements allow them to explore their fantasies and dreams, even though they know these situations are not currently possible. They are unreal. So, unreal conditions are also commonly used in storytelling, fiction writing, and creative discussions to create alternative realities and explore imaginative possibilities. They add depth and creativity to language by allowing us to express what could happen in the ideal or fictional world, despite the actual reality being different. So this is an important, let's say, part of the language, or point of a grammar that you need to know, which is conditional clauses. Now, to sum up our session here, now, as we discussed, the lesson here is on conditional sentences in English covered various types of conditional clauses, including zero, first, second, and third conditionals, as well as mixed conditionals and unreal conditionals. Here is, of course, a concise, let's say, summary of the key points. We discussed zero conditional, okay, used for general truths and scientific facts expressed with if plus present simple, simple structure. First conditional also used for real possibilities or likely future events, okay, with the rule. Second conditional also used for hypothetical or unreal situations in the present or future, of course, with its rule. The third conditional, of course, here the third conditional used for hypothetical situations in the past and that did not happen, expressed by, of course, using if plus past perfect would have plus past perfect. In addition to mixed conditionals, that is, combining elements of different conditionals such as past results with present conditional conditions or sequences. Unreal conditionals as well express imaginary or contrary to reality situations, often used with if plus past simple would base verb structure. Each type of conditional serves, as you know, a specific purpose in expressing different situation, or different kind, let's say, of relationships between conditions and outcome, ranging from real possibilities to hypothetical scenarios and unreal situations. Understanding and using these conditional structures accurately is essential for effectively communicating and expressing, let's say, various shades of meaning in English. In general, the lesson provided a comprehensive overview of conditional sentences, their structure, usages, and examples, enabling learners to navigate the use of conditionals with confidence in both spoken and written English. That's it for today. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.